satu peserta untuk memimpin doa. Ya, silakan Mbak. Ya. Kamu bisa di situ, bisa di depan. Oke, ya. Saya akan memeragakan stylenya dulu ya. Dia mungkin akan beberapa kali memegang catatan. Jadi dia tadi minta izin tidak pakai mic dan membuka masker. Jadi Anda pakai masker. Lalu yang kedua, baik kalau saya perkenalkan awal, Anda nanti bisa bertanya dalam tanya jawab. Beliau adalah riset dia itu tentang psikologi sosial, psikolinguistik, dan juga penelitian-penelitian tentang budaya. Secara lebih lengkap, dia akan mempresentasikan soal intercultural communication. So, David, I try to introduce you, but you can read it by yourself. To introduce. So, mari kita lakukan diskusi dengan baik. Barangkali akan adanya presentasi yang tidak begitu panjang lebar, tetapi mungkin itu akan menginspirasi teman-teman, dan silahkan berdiskusi sebebas mungkin. Okay. The time is yours. Okay. So let's expand your knowledge by discussion and any kind of dialogue in this class. Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for waiting. We're a little bit late. My name is David. I am an associate professor at Kyoto University in Japan. I'm originally from the United States. I've been living in Japan for 18 years, probably as old as some of you are. A couple of years younger maybe, or older in your case. And, well, what else? It's great to be here. I've been to Indonesia this is my 5th visit to Indonesia, 4 times in Yogyakarta, 1 time in Bali. And every time I visit, I learn many new things. And on this visit especially, I've learned many new things about Indonesia, language, food, culture, and so on. So, I'd like to begin this presentation, if I may, and hopefully I get it correct. Kulo Nun. Okay. So, let's go. Are you ready? Okay, this is the title. It's a long title. And there are many difficult words in the title, and I will explain, I will try my best to explain each word in the title. We have virtual, which means online, okay? Intercultural, between students from different cultures, in this case, Japanese, Chinese, Japanese students. Fieldwork, you know what fieldwork is, but I'm going to talk about an maybe interesting, but my own unique view of virtual field work that I'm sort of using to frame this. mutual transcultural understanding as a pedagogy, okay, to theorize and practice. So the first part of this presentation will be about theory related to mutual transcultural understanding pedagogy. The second part, part 2, will be related to practice. Okay, so we have a theory and practice parts to this presentation. Here we go. And it's not working. Never give me. Okay, we'll have to do it the hard way. So, my idea is to update what the traditional notion of fieldwork is into the virtual world, because we have technological innovations. We have Zoom, for example. In the old days, we had Skype, really old days. COVID-19, global pandemic. So we know, even though the COVID pandemic is almost finished, well, people are still becoming infected with the COVID virus, we still have some travel restrictions. So perhaps online, virtual intercultural fieldwork may be one way to solve this, what could be a problem. Yeah. Okay, it's working. Okay. Then, what is it? Well, basically these sort of principles. We have the on-site field workers, which include research practitioners. That means students, you all, right? So it's inclusive, researcher, practitioner based. I'll explain this more carefully and thoroughly in a certain theory related to education. So it's inclusive practitioner research, which means that students are included in the research process. Okay? Then we have an international collaborator. In this case, I was an international collaborator with Chihiro Sensei and also Albert Sensei. And so we collaborated together, leading our research team of students. We empowered our students by allowing them and, in fact, encouraging them to take the lead in this project. So we could learn, the researchers could learn from the students could learn from the other students. Of course, the students learn from the researchers or teachers, which is obvious, and teachers learn from the other teacher, reciprocal relationship, because in this case, you know, Japanese professor, crazy American professor living in Japan. So, more communication, and I'll mention and I'll show you a website where there are materials that we're posting to show the findings, to showcase the findings of this kind of virtual intercultural fieldwork. Now this is only my idea, right? I don't know. I think that researchers would argue, field researchers might argue, yeah, this isn't field work, right? But, well, okay, so I try to negotiate and have a constructive discussion with traditional fieldwork researchers. I haven't yet. I'm just thinking right now. Okay, this is the model that I'm going to explain. I hope that it's easy to understand, because I'm going to explain it from here, eminent cultural concepts, to especially these mediating variables. What is folk psychology, which might be something new to you? Team learning, which is a philosophy of education. Exploratory practice, another philosophy of education. And mutual transcultural understanding. So you see, we have a blend or a multidisciplinary model. Okay, not just psychology, right? Eminent cultural concept. This distinction I'm going to introduce from the cross-cultural psychology literature. This one is obvious, okay? So the intercultural exchanges are made to English as a foreign language or a lingua franca. Folk psychology, team learning, kind of a method or philosophy of education. Also exploratory practice, another philosophy of education. And there's a mutual transcultural understanding, so we have a cognitive and maybe an emotional aspect, which could be related to psychology, transcultural. We have a little bit of maybe anthropology, sociology. So you see how this is an interdisciplinary model, right? Cross-cultural psychology, philosophy and education and practice. Psychology and also sociology or anthropology. Okay, now the first part is about theory. And I'll go to the model again. We'll look at these emic cultural concepts. We'll start from the left side. Now, in the social sciences, you may have read John Barry's work. He's famous for acculturation. Vanderveer, he's also a famous researcher who studies or who proposed the idea of the differences between emic and etic distinction in the social sciences, especially cross-cultural psychology. So, I have a simple definition, but it's not enough. Etic, universal phenomena. What does that mean? Emic, cultural, specific concepts. Okay. Now look at this. Emic concepts may be culturally universal phenomena. Yamaguchi Susumu Sensei 2004, his colleague Mia Sensei 2006, studied amae. Amae, it's a Japanese word that when you write it in Chinese characters, it looks like sweet. So, making an inappropriate request and expecting it to be granted is the operational definition that Yamaguchi Sensei used in, or as a result of, the data he collected from Japanese people, students, and also public workers, employees in the community. And he found that, yes, so this could be a working definition. Now this is in social psychology, right? Educational psychology could be having a different definition of amae. Remember that this is only social psychology, so it's a very limited perspective on amae. Now the key assumption is that emic concepts may be culturally universal phenomena. So what is an emic concept? It's, what is it? Okay. Understanding that remains in the mind through experience, imagination, and reflection. Okay, what is etic? Universal phenomena. Observable facts or concepts. Observable facts or concepts. Now, what is that? Okay. Let's look at something to keep you awake. This is the website. It's called the Intercultural Word Sensei. That is kind of a database that collects and presents essays, illustrations, animations, presentations, publications related to that model. Okay, then I'll show you some Japanese First, animations. So we go to interpersonal concepts. You can see that each tab is divided among spirituality, interpersonal concepts, group behavior. So let's go to interpersonal concepts. And we see Amai. Now, this Chinese character and means sweet, right? We have a Chinese character and hiragana, Amai. So we have a definition to start with. Now, all of these essays are structured the same way. Definition. To begin with, what is Amai? Next, functions. Functions of the emic concept. Cases. Oh, and here we go. Here's a case.
今日は買い物楽しかったね。お父さん、私歩くの疲れた。おんぶして。
しょうがないな。おんぶしてあげよう。
So, in that case, the child is quite old, and here, in this case, she is making an inappropriate request to be on the back of her daddy, even though she's still old enough to walk. Her father says, okay, no problem, I love you, so I will take care of you. In this case, yeah, you can say that the daughter was making an inappropriate request, expecting it to be granted by her father. In this case, it makes the relationship between the father and the daughter more intimate or closer. Yeah. But what's interesting about Amai, and you might think that's obvious here, because I think you have in Japanese the word manja, right? Manja. So, but what's interesting about Amai, okay, it can happen in romantic relationships. Here we have something interesting. Look at this. This, yeah, okay, girlfriend, boyfriend feeding boyfriend, okay. Look at this sausage shaped like an octopus. That's common. And, okay, friends, Amai between friends. Now, manja may not have this sort of situation, but in Japan, Amai can happen between friends. Let's have a look.
次の数学の講義、だるいな。
ああ、悪い。俺ちょっと用事あってさ、ノート頼んでいいか？
別にいいけど、何の用事？
実は彼女とデートなんだ。は
あ？なんだよそれ。
ああ、すまん。ジュースおごるからさ、頼むよ。
はい、分かった。やるよ。
Amai between friends. Again, in this case, the senior, or in Indonesian, Pak, is making in this case making an inappropriate request to his junior, right? Which is kind of unusual because sometimes it's the other way around. Another one, self-indulged Amai. So, what I found out from the students is that Amai not only occurs between people in interactions, but it can occur within yourself. And this is an example of self-indulged Amai. Here we go. I hope this starts from the beginning.
ああ、宿題はまだいっぱいあるな。やりたくないな。まあいいから。まず ゲームをしましょ
Yeah. So, self-indulged am I. Procrastination, for example. Okay, now the emic cultural concepts are basically cultural keywords, okay? Why use cultural keywords, you might be wondering. What's the reason for using cultural keywords? Well, there is some literature to suggest that cultural keywords are thought to be organized around entire cultural domains. Worsbika has written many articles about cultural concepts in many different cultures. And yeah, she argues that it's essential to understand the key concepts in order. One aspect to understand the culture is to understand the keywords. And what I wrote with my graduate student was that in Japanese culture, we unlocked significant insights into Japanese culture by explaining cultural keywords. Okay, here are some of the emic concepts. Okay, we started with Japanese concepts because I'm based in Japan, right? We have here amai, which means in English, okay, what does amai mean? Presumed indulgence. Sajao, Chinese. Sajao, manja, and Japanese, manyin, and Balinese. So this one is, yeah, probably a universal etic phenomenon. But we have honne tatemai, true feelings over behavior, which is really important in Japan. I can't read this, and I haven't figured out if we have here an equivalent that we can compare and contrast with in Japanese. Group consciousness is Shudan Ishiki, and then there's a Chinese analog, and I haven't found the Japanese word yet. So please help us. Please help me. This is important. Wa, harmony. Wa. Look at this same kanji, same Chinese character. Tepo sario, sin sario. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's the same or not. But we can compare and contrast. Hiri, ijo, obligation, duty. We have this character that looks like this one in Chinese. Mensu, face maintenance. Ambiguity, I. Again, look at the Chinese character, look at the Japanese adopted or borrowed Chinese characters. Now, shame, we also might have a universal phenomenon here. Observable fact or occurrence. We have a word in Japanese, a word that can explain it in English, and then Chinese and Minchudan, right? Maybe, and Japanese. I've already given examples of some of the concepts, amai especially. Okay, the next part of the model. So, we've discussed emic cultural concepts. Let's move to folk psychology. What is folk psychology? Yeah, it's the basic common sense understanding of psychological constructs. Basically an emic understanding, right? That remains in the mind terms of experience and I'm getting tired. In terms of experience and imagination sometimes. Now, this sentence really, I really am impressed with this sentence. If you read any book, if you want to read, what is your next book, right, to read? Try to read Bruner 1990. It's called Acts of Meanings. And in it, Bruner, it's easy to read, basically, but it's also very deep and insightful. And this is my paraphrase, basically, of the theme of the book. Language is in a reciprocal relationship with culture through acts of meanings. Sometimes I have no idea what that means. Sometimes I have a little bit of idea. Sometimes when I'm sleeping and dreaming and wake up, oh, I understand. So, very difficult, maybe, yeah, quite difficult to understand, but very insightful, I think. Then, another philosophy in education, team learning. Okay, this is quite easy to understand. I already explained it. In this model of learning, right, the S's are students, the T's are teachers. So as you can see, students are learning from students, Chinese students, Japanese students, for example. Teachers are learning from teachers, Japanese teacher. Students are obviously learning from teachers. And the teacher, yeah, if you can imagine this, the teacher is learning from the students about different cultural keywords and how to compare and contrast those. Exploratory practice is next. There are several principles. I don't think I want to read them all. I want you to read them. Focus on the what issues, the who issues, the how issues, and look at this keyword, understanding, mutual, understanding. Many of the principles have the word understanding. And you might be wondering, yeah, why use this theory when we have action research? Well, exploratory practice doesn't try to solve a problem. It works for understanding, especially mutual understanding. That's the key, right? But this is the first principle that is the most important, quality of life. And nobody knows what that is, right? What is quality of life? Okay, next, mutual transcultural understanding. Now this is kind of, well, this was written, transculturality. This German researcher, Welsh, 1999, argued that transculturality is a new form of interculturality because it passes through boundaries, and culture today is characterized by mixes and permutation, whereas interculturality and multiculturality conceives cultures as islands or spheres. And the reason why I call it transcultural understanding is because from emic cultural concepts through intercultural exchanges, students and researchers find overlapping phenomena. Intercultural exchange, okay, yeah. You know Kuliah? This became popular during the COVID-19 pandemic, right? Collaborative online international learning. It's basically, you know, communicating through Zoom with people from different countries. Okay, second part. hope that we can get through this, have some discussion. Practice. So I went through theory, now I'm going to discuss practice. So we have an intercultural project. 1, Japan, Kyoto University. There were 9 first-year master's students and 2 doctoral students in my class, a graduate class called Transcultural or Intercultural Understanding Pedagogy. There was only 1 Japanese. Our department, well, it's basically a foreign language education department, so many Chinese study in order to teach Japanese in China, to go back to teach Japanese. But they're also fluent in English. So, and they've lived in Japan for maybe 2 or 3 years, so they understand Japanese cultural keywords. But we mostly had Chinese students from the mainland. This is embarrassing. So we have students from here, right? University of Sanakagama, 3 students. 1 is here in the room. Yeah, Javanese. So we consider Javanese keywords. And what did we do? This is basically what we did. So the students read some articles about, for example, Amai, Manja. That was difficult to find literature about. Chinese, there was some literature about Sajao, and of course Amai, which I introduced, but we didn't, there wasn't anything to read about Manja, so the students had to collaborate and work together through English to make an understanding, a mutual understanding. That's one of the principles in exploratory practice, right? A mutual understanding for how to understand, how to work together to create a higher quality of life in that exchange, which is the main goal of exploratory practice. And collaborative writing, yeah, they work together to write on Google Docs. Puzzles is a word from exploratory practice, like I mentioned. It's not like action research. There aren't problems, they're called puzzles in exploratory practice. Then cultural interviews. The interview guidelines were definitions, cases, functions, related expressions, discussion questions, literature. And those, that was the structure for each essay. Like Amai, we want to introduce to you. And the cultural concepts could be in the center, could be conceptualized in the center. Here are some of the readings, examples of readings that facilitators or teachers could use. Maybe some of you have read this one. This is a kind of a classic volume, Indigenous and Cultural Psychology by Kim, Yang, and Huang. You can find it for free at the PDF on the internet. Cultural linguistics, this is one discipline that I didn't mention. Yeah, that we used. And Sajao relates to Amai. If there were no published words on the concept or concepts, we allowed or asked the students to look at the website and to find out, what words they could explore in greater detail together using English. Okay, this is the procedure. I mentioned, online discussions using Zoom, face-to-face group discussion with, for each site, and collaborative writing on Google Docs. And I'm going to use a Google Doc for you, so you're going to have to work hard today. I know it's hot, but I'm only going to lecture for about 40 minutes. Then I'm going to put a QR code here. You're going to scan it. You're going to go to a Google Doc and with a partner, choose one question, answer the question. You'll see it on the Google Doc and we'll discuss it. Okay? I hope it works out. Okay, now I can't, these are some puzzles. I can't really pronounce this. Maybe it's spelled wrong, right? Maybe. Is it spelled correctly? Is it spelled correctly? It is?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce it?
The first one is Wondo.
Wondo? Wondo? Tempeh-bri. Tempeh-bri. Okay. These are the Chinese or Japanese students' question. Is notebook the same as disappointment? Okay, not just about disappointment. Cranky, powerless, angry. What is the meaning of tempeh-bri? Future. Okay, what is this? I have no idea what this means. Why? I have no idea what this means. Okay, let's look at it. It is future. It is the future time after an action occurred, but it is not clear when. Referring to the result of an action taken. I have no idea what that means. Maybe you can discuss it and explain it. The future time after an action occurred, but it is not clear when. Referring to the result. I don't know. Of an action taken. Maybe a strange student wrote that one. Team B, Kunstdan. What is the difference between shame and Kunstdan? It's a combination of feelings of shame, helplessness, and guilt. Nerimo. When do people become nerimo? We have cultural Japanese keywords here, right? Okay, now remember the etic and emic distinction. These, they are specific understandings remaining in the mind through experience and imagination. Okay. Well, you can see that this meaning might be etic. These meanings, okay, might be emic. I'm still wondering, I'm still thinking about this issue, right? What is, I mean, how do we know if a concept or the translation of a concept to English is etic or emic? But I have a feeling that this could be etic, this could be emic. That's the Japanese word of tempeh-bri, itsuka, izure, osokuhare, hayakare. And they all seem to share this definition, refer to some point that the speaker is unsure about. Then the Japanese and Chinese words seem to relate to this definition in English, whereas the Japanese term doesn't. It's something different. Okay. How did the students think and feel about their experience? Well, from a Chinese student in the mainland at Kyoto University, this student was quite happy. He or she wrote that, yeah, she or he made new friends in the virtual world. And yeah, really enjoyed this project. Maybe it's too good to be true. But this one, the next one is quite interesting. So an Indonesian student reflected Yeah, so he or she had negative stereotypes toward Chinese, right, from his or her experience. Then, through the experience of interacting with Chinese, his or her stereotypes toward Chinese will change. So you know the intergroup contact theory by Alport, right? There's something going on with groups that are interacting to break stereotypes. If they're working together on a similar task, and they have a common leader, and they're cooperating, there are several principles that must be present or fulfilled for the intergroup contact theory to manifest itself or to work. Okay, 2 seconds. Yeah, intercultural exchange project 2. This one was, between Bali International University, 3 undergraduates. And what's interesting about this is they were in a qualitative methods class. And in Japan, it was the same course, 6 mainland Chinese in the graduate center, in the graduate course, and then 2 teams, 3 graduate students, Chinese, and 1 or 2 Balinese students. So because the students in Bali were in a qualitative methods course, the methods of Amai qualitatively were introduced and explained by the teacher. There were open interviews, analysis of the interview transcripts, and reflection papers. So this exchange was done, perhaps more scientifically, right? So this project was easily published in an international journal as a research paper. The project before was published as a practical report, right? Because of the analysis, there were no, scientific analyses, but we're working on that. And this project, the members of this project's folk psychological understandings of Amai, Manja, and Sajao were this to begin with. Amai and Manja and Sajao. The 3 concepts are similar in that the initiator uses an adorable action, becomes cute, to request a favor or comfort from his or her family, close friend, or lover. And most requests are inappropriate, team A said. Manja. Similar. The next word. Mani. This is another team's folk psychology, understanding. It's a bit, it's simple. Expectations. Sajao. Spoiled childlike action, team A. Cute, childish actions, TV. Results. You can see that there are several aspects, and the check marks indicate which, according to the folk psychology of the student, applies to the. So Amai almost covers all of the aspects, except stranger as the receiver. is interesting. Why in Indonesia? Why stranger has to receive? Also China, I don't know. But in Japan, it doesn't make sense to benefit, to give to strangers. I mean, even volunteering is not so common in Japan. Making contributions to a charity, not so common in Japan. Team B, they came up with different aspects. My seem to relate to all four. Okay, now I presented some of the positive student reflections, right? But there were negative aspects of this, both of the virtual projects. Number one, okay, they seem to be turn-taking on Zoom, whereas you're taking a class in a real classroom, they're much more relaxed, and everyone can speak more freely, I suppose, because they can read nonverbal cues, and they can just relax and enjoy the presence of others without being face-to-face with the computer screen in front of them. Yeah, again, there was something missing from the online exchanges. Perhaps the combination of offline and online, right, a hybrid situation would be the best. Okay, this is basically for teachers, but the reason, for success, class photos, maybe limit the number of embed concepts. Yeah, I discussed this. So group emails or Google Docs are better than learning management systems. They're more effective. Video chatting, right. Some of the students complained or said it's not as beneficial as face-to-face. Well, it could lead to anxiety for some. Both sides should ask questions. Okay, now it's time for fun. We'll look at more of what this website has to offer. Okay, animations. Okay, right, these are the essay categories: spirituality, interpersonal concepts, group behavior. It's difficult to see for some of you in the back, so oops. Okay. Okay, you can see the categories. And if you click on one category, for example, spirituality, okay, please pay attention to this because I'm going to ask you to do this in about 10 minutes. Okay, so with a partner, I'd like you to choose one essay that you're interested in. Then, for example, and you will open the essay. Try to read as much as you can. At least read a few sentences from each section. Okay? We have introduction, function, cases, They're structured all the same. And then scroll to the discussion questions. Okay, this one should be difficult because Nemo is in your language. Okay. Then, do you think the attitudes of Nemo and Sai Wengashima are positive? What kinds of attitudes do you think you might take if you face a tragedy or a failure? Choose two, and with your partner or 3 people, write answers to these questions on a Google Doc in 10 minutes. Before that, I want you to have a look at some of these audio-visual materials. Audio-visual. So we have the diagram of the model. This is basically for teachers. We have a syllabus and schedule of my graduate seminar that provides readings, linked to PDFs, interview guidelines. Yeah, this is basically follows the structure of each essay. Introduction, functions, cases, related expressions, discussion questions. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Japanese illustrations of emic, what are probably emic cultural concepts. Look at this. Aimai, ambiguity in expressing love. So, you know the famous the famous poet or writer Soseki. He said that he's known to say that saying the moon is beautiful is enough to say that your girlfriend is beautiful. So ambiguous. So, you see, that is a very traditional way to express love for Japanese people, right? The moon is so beautiful. Oh, thank you. Like that. Okay, the next concept, Shudan Ishiki, group consciousness or collectivism. This is kind of well, in this case there are group tourists. Japanese are known for going on group tours, especially older people. Next, okay, senpai. This is the junior. He has the bad, and this is the senior, and these are the juniors. I think you have this distinction here as well. In Japanese, we call the senior senpai, the junior is kohai. Oh, moi. Moi is difficult to define in English. This is moi. I can't define it in English. This is moi. Hikikomori, the shut-in. This is a problem in Japan. Young people decide, they don't want anything to do with Japanese society because for some reason or another, it's too difficult for them to fit in or live in Japanese society. So they stay in their room in their parents' house. And their parents feed them sometimes a plate under the table, under the door. Or just open the door, here's your food. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They never come out, maybe for years. So this is a very difficult problem in society to address. Now, I don't know what this person is doing. Maybe these days this person could be playing online video games, collaborating with other hikikomori people. Maybe they have a network. I have no idea these days, but this has been a problem since the 1990s. Konjo. Grit, determination. Bushido. This kanji is really interesting. This Japanese, this Chinese character, do, kendo, bushido, kyudo, kendo is the sword one, right? What else? Shodo is writing. It's the way of writing. The way. And we're done. Okay, let's have a look at some more videos. Animation. Okay, we have viewed the Amai. Okay, this is Kenkyo. Self, Kenkyo, Kenkyo and family, Kenkyo and gift giving. You know, Japanese are famous for being modest. That's Kenkyo. Kenkyo means modest, right? So Kenkyo, self. Let's have a look at the university.
Hi Vicky, I heard that you took part in the English speaking contest last week. How did it go?
Yes, I was very lucky to participate in it. It was great. There were many contestants who spoke very good English.
Did you win a prize?
Yes, I won a second prize.
Wow, good for you.
No. I was just lucky. I was nervous in front of the audience. I don't think I did that well.
Don't be silly. You must have done a very good job.
Not at all.
So what I did, what I developed for my Ph.D. research was something I call mutual self-enhancement. So in that case, when the girl was the opposite of self-deprecating, when she was saying, I'm not so good, I didn't do so well at the speech contest, then the boy said, oh, you did well, didn't you do well? I'm sure you did well. You got second place, you did really well. And she said, no, I didn't. I was just lucky. Yeah, and external attribution. I was just lucky. And the boy is providing her with an internal attribution. Next. Kenkyo in the family.
水野さん、この前翔太君夜遅くに駅前で見たけど塾かしら？そうなのよ。最近宿題が多くて大変そうにしてるわ。偉いわね。うちの慎太郎なんてちっとも勉強しなくて手を焼いてるのよ。でも慎太郎君スポーツすごいじゃない。聞いたわよ。この前も陸上大会で賞を取ったって。クラスでもモテモテじゃない？だといいんだけど。でも高学歴エリートの方が将来モテるわよ。うちのバカ息子は今のままだとお嫁さんもらえないわ。
Yeah, this is common. Okay, one more. Okay, gift giving. This one's absolutely true. Very common.
Hi. こんにちは。隣に越してきた山田と申します。
あら、こんにちは。水野です。よろしく。大学生？
はい、京都大学の3回生です。よろしくお願いします。これ、つまらないものですが。
あら、可愛らしい手帳じゃない。ありがとう。
大したものをご用意できなくてすみません。
そんなことないわよ。気に入ったわ。使わせてもらうわね。
So, tsumaranai koto means boring gift. And tsumaranai koto is a very important word because, yeah, it's being modest about what you give because you don't want to disappoint. Probably one reason is you don't want to disappoint the receiver, and another reason is it's just a common practice. It's like a reflex, unconscious expression. Okay, let's see. Do you want to see what Chihiro Sensei made? Chihiro Sensei, Widianto Sensei. He made a presentation. Maybe I'll play it. I'll go to the illustration. What I've found in 18 years of living in Japan, that Japanese people that I talk to, when I ask them, what does amae mean? What? I've never thought of it before. So sometimes it takes an outsider's perspective to bring out the cultural keywords and folk psychological definitions. Kami, kita kami, and distinct modes of togetherness. Next. Not done.